For my 40th birthday, my wife kept teasing me for weeks. Just wait. Something big is coming? She'd grin, like a kid hiding a secret. Every time I asked, she'd touch my arm, lean in, and whisper, "Be patient, Michael. You'll see." I believed her. Hell, I wanted to believe her. I'd been busting my A at work, saving up for a trip, thinking maybe she was planning a surprise for us. Something to break the monotony. And honestly, after 14 years of marriage, the idea of her putting in that kind of effort lit a fire in me. I thought maybe we were in that rekindling stage couples talk about. That morning, I walked into the house after work, still wearing my jacket, and stopped dead. It was quiet, too quiet. No kids, no TV noise, no faint hum of music from the kitchen where she usually puttered around. The table was bare. No balloons, no dinner setup. Not even a damn card. I called her cell straight to voicemail. Texted her, no reply. I figured maybe she was out grabbing something last minute. So I made coffee, sat down, and waited. But as the minutes stretched into hours, a cold pit settled in my stomach. Around 8 p.m. I got my answer. I wasn't looking for trouble. I was scrolling Facebook, killing time, when a photo stopped me mid-scroll. It was my wife, Jennifer, on a sunny beach, laughing with a cocktail in hand. Beside her, our two kids, Tyler and Megan, building a sandcastle. Her parents were there too, all smiles. The caption, posted by my own son. "He won't even notice we're gone, LOL." It hit like a punch to the ribs. My chest tightened, my ears rang. I just stared at that picture, her tan skin, her hair catching the wind, looking happier than she'd looked with me in years. Not one text, not one call. On my birthday, I didn't comment, I didn't call. I just kept staring at the image until my coffee went cold. For 2 days, I didn't hear from her. Not a peep. I went to work, came home, and sat in that dead silent house, pretending like my life hadn't just cracked open. Then, on the second night, my WhatsApp lit up like a Christmas tree. 28 messages. All from Jennifer. "Michael, please. It's not what it looks like. Pick up the phone. I need to explain, please. And the kicker, you're overreacting. Can we just talk like adults?" I sat there, thumb hovering over the screen, wondering if I even wanted to hear whatever half-baked lie she was about to feed me. And that's when I noticed something in one of the pictures her sister had posted earlier that day. Something in the background, just a shadow at first, but it made my stomach twist. Because that wasn't a stranger. I knew that face, and it sure as hell wasn't one of her cousins. I zoomed in on the picture like a lunatic, my thumb pinching the screen until the pixels started to break apart. There, behind my wife, just a few feet away at the bar, was a man in sunglasses and a baseball cap. It wasn't some random tourist. I knew that jawline, that crooked grin. His name was Brandon Carter, a guy I used to work with years ago, the kind who'd slap you on the back too hard and laugh at his own jokes. A smooth-talking, loud-mouthed charmer who always had to be the center of attention. He'd been at our house once for a barbecue. I remember Jennifer laughing at one of his dumb stories like it was the funniest thing she'd ever heard. Back then, I thought nothing of it. Now, my gut told me everything I needed to know. I scrolled through her sister's other photos, my hands shaking. There he was again, this time shirtless, in the background of a group shot, holding a drink with a stupid little umbrella in it. Not looking at the camera, looking at her. I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding so loud I could hear it in my ears. Every cliché about betrayal I'd ever heard suddenly made sense. The burning in the chest, the nausea, the disbelief that this was your life, not some scene from a bad drama. I opened WhatsApp again. Her last message had been an audio note. Against my better judgment, I hit play. Her voice was calm, too calm. "Michael, please stop making this into something it's not. The kids wanted to go to the beach. My parents thought it'd be nice. I didn't think you'd mind. I didn't tell you because I wanted it to be a surprise, like a gift. You could have the house to yourself for your birthday. A gift? My wife disappears with the kids and another man on my 40th birthday, and she's selling it like she left me a damn spa voucher?" I didn't reply. Couldn't. The anger was boiling up so fast I knew if I typed something, it wouldn't be words. It would just be fire. Instead, I went back to the photos. My detective mode was fully engaged now. One picture, her sister's selfie at dinner, showed Jennifer's reflection in the restaurant mirror. She was leaning toward Brandon, her hand on his forearm, that familiar tilt of her head she used to give me when we were still new. Another, posted by my son, of all people, caught half of Brandon's face next to hers in a group shot. They weren't touching, but there was that electricity in the space between them. You can't fake that. You can't Photoshop chemistry. I shut my phone off and tossed it on the couch, pacing the living room like an animal in a cage. The part that hurt the most wasn't just the idea of her being with someone else. It was that she took our kids along for the ride. Like she wanted to make this new little fantasy life feel real. Like I was already written out of the script. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat in the dark, replaying every weird moment from the last 6 months. The late-night errands, the sudden obsession with her appearance, the constant smile at her phone. Every time I'd asked, she had an answer. Always sweet, always harmless, always just enough to keep me from digging deeper. But the pieces were finally clicking into place, and the picture they made was ugly. By morning, I had a decision to make. I could either call her and demand the truth, or I could wait, let her come home and see if she lied to my face. I chose the second option. If she was going to treat me like a fool, I wanted to give her the full stage to do it. Around noon, my phone buzzed again. Another photo notification. This time, it wasn't from her family. It was from a mutual friend who happened to be at the same resort. No caption, no explanation, just a single crystal-clear shot. Jennifer and Brandon, in the pool, her arms around his neck, his hands on her waist, smiles so wide you'd think they just won the lottery. My chest went cold. My vision tunneled. There was no maybe anymore. No room for doubt. She wasn't just gone for my birthday. She was gone for good. She came back on a Tuesday. I knew the sound of her car in the driveway. Smooth, quiet, the kind of expensive hum that tells the neighbors you've made it. I was sitting at the kitchen table with my coffee, phone face down, heart rate steady. I'd rehearsed this in my head for 2 days. The front door opened, and the first thing I saw was her smile. That same fake, polished smile she used on strangers and waiters when she wanted something. "Michael," she said like I'd just gotten home from work. "We're back." The kids barreled in first. Tyler gave me a quick nod. Awkward, almost guilty. Megan avoided eye contact completely, shuffling past me with her bag. Then Jennifer walked in, dragging her suitcase behind her. She leaned in to kiss me on the cheek. I didn't move. She froze mid-motion, that smile faltering just for a split second before coming back even brighter. "What's wrong?" I took my phone, flipped it over, and slid it across the table. The photo of her and Brandon in the pool was glowing on the screen. Her eyes flicked down to it, then back to me. No shock, no gasp, just that calculating stillness like she was working out which lie would land best. "Oh, that?" she said, pulling out a chair. "Michael, you're being ridiculous." "Ridiculous?" I repeated slowly. "You disappeared on my birthday, took the kids, and went to a beach resort with him. And I'm ridiculous." She rolled her eyes. Actually rolled her eyes at me. "Brandon's a friend. My parents invited him. It wasn't like that." "Not like that." My voice was rising, the heat climbing my neck. "I saw your arms around him." She gave a short laugh. "We were swimming. What, am I not allowed to touch another human being now? God, you're so insecure sometimes." That hit me like a slap. Insecure? That's the card she was going to play? "Jennifer, don't play dumb. You've been lying to me for months. Late nights, secret phone calls, and now this." She leaned back in the chair, arms crossed, expression hardening. "Maybe if you paid more attention to me, I wouldn't need other people to talk to." There it was. The knife, not just twisting it in my gut, but blaming me for handing it to her. "You're unbelievable," I said. My hands were gripping the table so hard my knuckles ached. "You humiliate me, drag our kids into it, and then blame me for your choices?" Her voice sharpened, her patience clearly gone. "Oh, don't act like you're some perfect husband. You work late every night. You barely talk to me. You think buying groceries and fixing a leaky faucet counts as love? Newsflash, it doesn't." I just stared at her, letting the venom spill, letting her show me exactly who she was. The woman I'd married was gone. Maybe she'd been gone for a long time, and I was just too blind or too hopeful to see it. Finally, I asked, "Are you sleeping with him?" She tilted her head, smirking like it was a game. "That's none of your business." That was it. The line that broke me. My chest went cold, my pulse slowing in that eerie way where anger turns into something heavier. I stood up, pushing the chair back. "It's my business when my wife is screwing another man." Her laugh was short and sharp. "Don't be dramatic, Michael. It's not the end of the world. People have flings. They move on." I took a deep breath, forcing my voice steady. "Is that what you've done? Moved on?" She didn't answer. She just picked up her suitcase and started walking toward the bedroom. That silence told me everything words couldn't. The kids stayed in their rooms the rest of the day. I stayed in the kitchen, sipping coffee long after it had gone cold, feeling the house shift into something foreign. This wasn't my home anymore. It was hers, and he was in it now, whether physically or just in her head. That night, I didn't try to talk to her again. I didn't need to. She'd said enough without saying much at all. But in that quiet, something inside me settled. The shock was burning off, and in its place was something steadier. Resolve. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to fight for scraps of loyalty from someone who'd already cashed out. I was going to end this. I woke before sunrise with a plan and a pulse that wouldn't slow down. I wasn't going to beg or bargain. I was going to document. By 7, I'd pulled 6 months of joint credit card statements and circled charges that didn't fit our life. A beachfront resort in Gulf Shores, a boutique jewelry store in Buckhead, 2 dinners for 2 at a place we'd never tried together. I forwarded everything to a new email I'd created the night before. One Jennifer didn't know existed. Next stop, our family phone plan. I wasn't snooping in the dark. I was the account holder. The call logs read like a confession. Brenda T., a contact I didn't recognize, had hours of late calls with Jennifer, always after I fell asleep. I screenshotted the timestamps, the pattern, the way the calls spiked the same nights she'd run errands. Brenda T. Wasn't Brenda anything. It was Brandon Carter hiding behind a wig and a letter. At 8:11 a.m., the doorbell rang. I opened it to a courier holding a vase as big as a small tree. White lilies, tacky as a game show prize, with a card tucked in the stems. Couldn't stop thinking about the pool. Counting the hours. I took a photo, set the bouquet in the center of the kitchen island, and felt something inside me harden into steel. Then a sound I'd never heard in my own house. A phone chime like ocean waves. Not mine. Not the kids. I followed the sound to the drawer with oven mitts. Buried under a red mitt was a slim burner phone. I powered it on with a thumb I already knew would work. Hers. No lock. Open texts. The thread with Brenda T. was a parade of lies written in bubbles. Can't wait to do round 2. Leave the door unlocked Thursday. Your husband is a ghost, LOL. Did you delete the pics, babe? I photographed every screen. I emailed the photos to my new account and, for good measure, printed them. At 9, my mother-in-law, Carol, knocked without texting first. Classic Carol, with my father-in-law, Frank, hovering behind her. "Michael, we need to talk about your attitude," she started. Chin high, eyes full of judgment. "Jennifer says you're making a scene and frightening the children." "Great," I said, sliding the bouquet card across the island like a dealer pushing chips. "Let's start with this." Frank read the note, exhaled through his nose, and looked older in 5 seconds. Carol's face went chalk white, then flushed bright. "This doesn't prove." The burner phone chimed again. Ocean waves. "Brandon. Parking lot in 10? Same spot." I watched Carol register the name on the screen. She closed her mouth. "Good." Jennifer walked in then, hair damp, calm like a yogi who just invented forgiveness. Her eyes snagged the lilies, then the card, then the phone. She reached for it. I put my palm over the drawer. Don't, I said. Everything's backed up. She tried on 3 expressions in a row: sweet, offended, bored. Like rotating masks. You can't go through my things. I didn't, I said. They were screaming. For once, she didn't have a comeback. The silence felt like the first honest sound she'd made in months. Here's the twist she didn't see coming. I wasn't alone anymore. An hour earlier, I'd met someone at a coffee shop off Peachtree. Emily Parker. Popular American name, sure, but the woman attached to it had glacier eyes and a folder thick enough to stop a bullet. Emily was Brandon's wife. She'd been suspicious since June. She had hotel receipts, date-stamped photos, a screenshot of Brandon's synced calendar with Jennifer's initials sprinkled through it like confetti. She slid the folder to me, then her business card. "I'm not here to cry," she said. "I'm here to coordinate." Now I looked at Jennifer and said, gently, "Emily says hi." That landed. The confidence drained from her posture, shoulders tipping by degrees. "Who?" "Brandon's wife," I said. "She has the same folder I do, just with your name typed where hers is." Carol made a small sound, the kind people make at funerals when the organ starts. Frank stared at the lilies like they were a map to a better year. The burner phone chimed again. "Brandon. 10 minutes. Got the room until noon." I picked up the phone, typed with deliberate, careful slowness. "Sure. Michael's out. Same spot." Jennifer's eyes widened. "Don't you dare." "Dare what?" I asked. "Confirm what you two already arranged?" I texted Emily from my phone. "He's on the hook. Parking lot in 10. She responded in one beat. "I'm here." I turned to Jennifer. "You can come meet him with me, or you can start packing. Either way, the pretending is over." "You're being cruel," she whispered. Like the word belonged to me. "To the kids. To me." "No," I said. "Cruelty was leaving me on my birthday so you could play pretend wife with a man who isn't me. Cruelty was making our son write a joke about it." For the first time I saw it land, not guilt, not remorse, consequence. I grabbed my keys. "Let's go finish this." The air outside felt heavier than it should have. Not humid, not exactly. It was the kind of heaviness that sits on your shoulders when you know the next hour will change everything. Jennifer rode in the passenger seat, silent but vibrating with tension. She kept her arms crossed tight against her chest, as if that could shield her from what was coming. I didn't speak to her on the way. The tires hummed along Peachtree like a clock ticking down to 0. The address Brandon had texted led to a hotel with a faded sign and half a dozen empty spots out front. Not their usual family vacation choice. This was the kind of place you book by the hour. Emily was already there. She stood near a black SUV, sunglasses hiding her eyes, a leather folder tucked under one arm. When I pulled in, she gave me a small nod. Not the warm kind, but the kind soldiers might give before a firefight. "Timing's good," she said as I stepped out. "He's late. Again." Jennifer stayed in the car, gripping the door handle like it was an anchor. Emily glanced past me at her. "She coming?" I shook my head. "She's watching." We didn't have to wait long. A beat-up silver sedan swung into the lot, music thumping from inside. Brandon stepped out, baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses on even though the sky was clouded over. He didn't look around at first, just locked his car and started toward the entrance. "Brandon," Emily called out. He froze, halfway to the lobby. His head turned slowly, like a man checking whether the nightmare was real. When he saw Emily, his jaw tightened. Then he saw me. Then he saw Jennifer sitting in the passenger seat of my car, eyes locked on him through the glass. "Wow," he said, voice flat. "You two really went full detective." Emily's voice was calm, dangerous. "You really went full idiot." He tried to laugh it off, but it came out choked. "This isn't what it looks like." I stepped closer, closing the space between us. "You've been touching my wife. You've been taking my kids around like they're part of your little adventure. You want to tell me what it does look like?" He didn't answer, just shoved his hands in his pockets, eyes darting toward the lobby. Emily opened her folder and pulled out a stack of photos, Him and Jennifer at the beach, at restaurants, coming out of the same hotel behind us now. She let the pictures fan out in her hands like a deck of cards. I could send these to your boss, she said. Or your mother. Which one would ruin you faster? Brandon's smirk faltered. This is between me and her, he muttered, jerking his head toward my car. I stepped in closer, low enough for only him to hear. She's all yours now, but I'm walking away with my kids. You understand? You don't come near them again. That got his attention. He glanced back at Jennifer, then at me. They like me, he said, and for the first time I felt the real rage boil up. The kind that makes your vision edge in red. They don't know you, I said, voice steady. And they never will. Emily slid the photos back into the folder. You've got 10 seconds to leave before I send this to every contact in your phone, she said. He backed away, hands up like we were holding guns. Fine, whatever. You're both crazy. He got into his car and peeled out of the lot, tires squealing on the pavement. I turned back toward my car. Jennifer was still there, pale and stiff, eyes locked on some spot in the distance. I opened the driver's side door but didn't get in. Your boyfriend's gone, I said. She didn't look at me. You humiliated me. I almost laughed. You think this was humiliation? You should have thought about that before you humiliated me on my birthday. In front of my kids. In front of half your family. She finally turned, and the coldness in her face told me everything. There would be no apology, no tears, no admission. Just defiance. Take me home, she said. I got in, started the engine, and drove. Emily followed us out of the lot, but we split ways a few blocks later. The ride back was silent, but my mind wasn't. I'd expected some satisfaction from confronting him, from catching her in the open. Instead, all I felt was done. Like the rope holding us together had snapped, and I wasn't even trying to tie it back. By the time we pulled into the driveway, I knew what came next. And it wasn't fixing anything. We got home just after noon. Jennifer walked in first, tossing her bag on the couch like she'd just come back from a grocery run, not from a hotel parking lot ambush. She didn't head for the bedroom or the shower. She went straight to the kitchen, poured herself a glass of wine, and sat at the counter scrolling her phone. I watched her from the doorway. The kids were upstairs, their music and laughter muffled through the ceiling, blissfully unaware of the war that had just taken place. You're going to make this ugly, aren't you? She said without looking up. I stepped inside, my voice level. It's already ugly. You made sure of that. She sighed like I was a child throwing a tantrum. Michael, we can still fix this. You're overreacting to a... Don't. I cut her off. Don't call it a mistake. A mistake is forgetting to take the trash out. You've been running around with Brandon for months. That's not a mistake. That's a decision. Her eyes flicked up at me, sharp. Fine. So maybe I'm not happy. You ever think of that? Maybe I want something more exciting than a man who works late and falls asleep on the couch. I felt the words like a jab to the ribs, but I didn't give her the satisfaction of seeing me flinch. Then you should have said so instead of sneaking around. But now, I'm done. I'm filing. She laughed. Actually laughed. Like I told a bad joke. Filing for divorce? Please. You couldn't handle life without me. You wouldn't last a month. I'll last, I said. And I'll have the kids. That got her attention. The smirk faltered. Replaced by a flash of panic, she tried to hide behind her wine glass. You're not taking them from me. You involved them in your affair, I said. You took them to meet him. You let our son post pictures mocking me while you were in a hotel pool with another man. Any judge will see exactly what that says about your priorities. Her jaw tightened, but she didn't argue. She just stared at me, calculating. I'd seen that look before, the one she used when she was about to lie so smoothly you almost wanted to believe it. You're making this a battle, she said finally. If you fight me, I'll make sure they hate you. I'll tell them you drove me away, that you didn't care about us. I stepped closer, lowering my voice so it was ice instead of fire. Go ahead, lie to them. But when they're old enough to see the truth, they'll remember who treated them like pawns in a game. For a second, her mask slipped, just enough to show the crack underneath. Then she finished her wine in one swallow, stood, and walked past me without another word. The rest of the day we moved like strangers in the same house. She stayed in the bedroom, door shut. I stayed in the living room with my laptop, researching family lawyers, bookmarking 3 names, and drafting an email to each. I included the photos, the call logs, the credit card statements, and Emily's contact information. By evening, I'd also set up a separate bank account in my name only. I transferred half our joint savings into it, nothing illegal, just my share, so I'd have a cushion when the storm hit. Around 8 p.m., there was a knock on the living room door. Tyler stood there, frowning. "Dad, what's going on?" "Mom's been crying." I kept my voice calm. "Your mom and I are going through some problems. That's between us. But I need you to remember something. No matter what happens, I'm still your dad. I'll always be here." He looked uneasy, like he could sense there was more under the surface, but he nodded. "Okay." When he left, I sat in the dark for a long time, the weight of it settling over me. Divorce wasn't just cutting ties with her. It was dismantling an entire life, piece by piece, in front of our kids. But every time I pictured her in that pool with Brandon, smiling like she'd been set free, I knew there was no version of this where I could look at her the same way again. By midnight, my emails to the lawyers were sent. The bank account was secure. My phone was full of evidence. The line was drawn, and if she wanted to step over it, she'd have to be ready for the fight of her life. The next morning, Jennifer was up before me. That alone was suspicious. She never beat me to the coffee maker unless she had a reason. By the time I walked into the kitchen, she was sitting at the table with Tyler and Megan, speaking in that soft, motherly voice she reserved for important talks. The minute they saw me, both kids went quiet. Jennifer sipped her coffee like nothing was wrong. "We were just talking about how families sometimes change," she said. "Sometimes one parent decides they don't want to be part of the team anymore." My stomach tightened. I knew exactly what she was doing. "Is that what you're telling them?" I asked, keeping my tone even. "That I don't want to be part of the family?" She gave a sweet little smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I'm not telling them anything, Michael. I'm just helping them prepare for whatever's coming." Megan shifted uncomfortably in her seat. "Mom said you're mad because she went on a trip. That's dumb." Jennifer's smile widened like she'd just scored a point. "See? Even they think." I cut her off. "Megan, I'm not mad because your mom went on a trip. I'm mad because she lied to me and took you to spend time with someone who isn't part of our family. And I'm mad she's talking about this to you instead of me." Tyler looked between us, his expression torn. "Are you guys getting divorced?" Jennifer jumped in before I could answer. "Your dad's thinking about it, but I want to work things out." She reached over and squeezed his hand. It was a masterstroke of manipulation. Make herself look like the one trying to save the family while painting me as the quitter. After the kids left for school, I didn't bother hiding my anger. "You want to play it that way? Fine. But every time you lie to them about me, I'll correct it. To their faces. And I'll do it without dragging them into adult problems like you just did." Her expression hardened. "You're not taking them from me. We'll see what a judge says." That afternoon, I had my first consultation with a divorce attorney. David Rosen, a bulldog in a suit who looked like he'd been waiting his whole career for cases exactly like mine. He didn't waste time with small talk. "You've got photos, messages, financial records, and a third-party witness. She involved the kids in the affair, publicly humiliated you, and is already engaging in parental alienation. You're in a strong position for custody." It was the first time in weeks I felt like I had leverage. When I got home, Jennifer was in the living room with her laptop, typing furiously. She didn't look up when I walked in. "Just so you know," she said, "I'm telling my side to everyone before you twist it." "Go ahead," I said. "The truth doesn't need twisting." Over the next few days, the smear campaign went into full swing. Friends I'd known for years started acting cold. Mutual acquaintances stopped answering my texts. My own sister called to check in, but couldn't hide that she'd been fed a version of events where I was the cold, neglectful husband who drove her into someone else's arms. She was fast, I'll give her that. But she underestimated me. I didn't go shouting my side from the rooftops. I let the evidence speak for itself. Screenshots, timestamps, receipts, everything neatly organized and ready for the people who mattered most. The court and the kids. And then, 2 nights later, the game changed again. Emily called. You should know, Brandon and Jennifer aren't being careful. I just saw them at a restaurant downtown. She kissed him right at the table. It was like she wanted me to have more ammunition. Or maybe she thought she was invincible now that she'd started poisoning the well against me. Either way, I told Emily, thanks, keep documenting. When I hung up, I walked to the kitchen, poured myself a drink, and realized something. Her smear campaign wasn't just about the divorce. It was about control. She was trying to make me react, to get me flailing so she could point and say, see, he's unstable. I wasn't going to give her that satisfaction. From that night forward, I stopped reacting in front of her. I answered her digs with silence, her accusations with calm, her provocations with a smile that told her nothing. If she wanted a war, she'd get one. But it would be fought on my terms. Courtrooms don't look like TV. They're smaller, drier, and smell like paper. David Rosen sat beside me, calm as a surgeon, while Jennifer whispered to her attorney, a woman named Kelly Brooks who wore a smile like a blade. Brandon didn't show. Surprise. But Emily Parker did, hair pinned back, folder in hand like a ledger of endings. The judge, Patricia Hill, steady voice, gray eyes, started with the kids. Best interests, she said, the 2 words everyone pretends to worship and half the room tries to hijack. Kelly opened with the performance I knew was coming. I was cold, absent, married to my job. Jennifer dabbed her eyes exactly once, like she'd practiced the timing. I felt my jaw clench, then forced my hands flat on my knees. Don't react. David rose. No theatrics, just receipts. Literally. He walked the judge through the timeline. My 40th birthday, the beach resort, the captions, the burner phone, the hotel parking lot. He called Emily, who spoke in clean, spare sentences that cut deeper than any monologue Jennifer could deliver. She didn't trash talk. She just named dates, places, and the way 2 people who weren't married to each other kept acting like they were, with my kids nearby like props in a photo. Then came the turn. David played a voicemail from Jennifer to Brandon. Pulled from the synced cloud, she forgot she'd left unguarded. Keep it cool. Michael's clueless. The kids adore you. Soon this'll be official. The words rolled through the room like a cold front. Kelly objected, half standing. Overruled. Jennifer's face didn't crack. Not exactly. It just lost its shine, like heat had finally met metal. Judge Hill took notes. She asked 2 questions, both simple, both razor-sharp. Ms. Carter, why did you allow your children to spend time with your romantic partner before discussing separation with your husband? And why did your son post a message mocking his father on his father's birthday? Jennifer tried the soft voice approach. It sounded like someone rearranging pillows on a coffin. The decision wasn't dramatic. It was measured. Joint legal custody, Judge Hill said, with primary physical custody to the father during the school week. Mothers alternating weekends, supervised transitions. Both parties will use a co-parenting app. Neither party will disparage the other to the children. Violations will be sanctioned. She paused, then looked directly at Jennifer. Do not involve your children in adult conflicts again. No gavel slam, just a pen stroke that redrew our lives. Outside, Kelly muttered something about appeals. Jennifer brushed past me, perfume sharp, eyes hot with a fury that said consequences were an inconvenience, not a lesson. She waited until we were out of earshot. Congratulations, she said. You turned our kids into a schedule. I breathed in, held it, let it go. No, I said. You did. I just wrote it down. Sudden event number 2 hit 24 hours later. Brandon texted me. Because cowards choose screens. Some victory lap garbage about how I'd overplayed my hand and Jennifer was moving in with him. 10 minutes after that, Emily forwarded me a photo. Brandon's apartment door, a suitcase on the welcome mat, and a screenshot of her bank reversing a joint card he'd been siphoning. "He's not moving in with anyone but himself," she wrote. It wasn't joy I felt. It was gravity rebalancing. At home, Tyler and Megan tiptoed around the new rules, testing the edges. That first school night dinner felt like an interview. I cooked spaghetti, oversalted it, and didn't pretend it was perfect. I told them what the judge said exactly. No spin. No villain monologue. Megan cried quietly, then ate 3 bites and asked if I could braid her hair like Mom does. I tried. It looked like a pretzel. We laughed. It was the first sound in weeks that wasn't jagged. Jennifer stayed mean. That didn't surprise me. She tried a last public swing. An unhinged post about abandonment and controlling men. I didn't respond. People who wanted the truth already had it. People who wanted a show could find a different channel. The post vanished a day later, probably at Kelly's suggestion. The internet forgives nothing and forgets everything in the same breath. Nights got less loud in my head. I started running again. I fixed the crooked gait. I set up therapy for the kids and myself because pride is a luxury wounded people can't afford. On a Sunday, I boxed up the Lily's card and all the evidence into a file labeled "Case Closed." I didn't burn it. I didn't need the smoke. What did I learn? That betrayal is not one act. It's a series. It starts with a secret smile at a screen, grows in the silence you convince yourself is nothing, and ends at a table where a judge teaches 2 adults how to speak like grown-ups. I learned that anger is a rocket, loud, fast, and useless if you don't point it somewhere worthy. Aim it at protection, not revenge. At boundaries, not blow-ups. Document. Breathe. Choose witnesses over audiences. And when the day arrives where acceptance sits down beside you on the couch, don't ask it to leave. Advice, if you need it, trust the itch in your gut. Keep your dignity. Speak facts, not flames. Love your kids louder than you hate the situation. And remember, someone leaving doesn't mean you were less. It just means they were less with you. On my 41st birthday, Tyler wrote the caption, "Dinner with Dad. He notices everything." I didn't comment. I didn't call anyone. I just lived it.